Hey everybody, we're down here in Indianapolis today at my son's lab, and we're working on a little project for my next engine, and it's pretty neat. I'll let my son tell you all about it. Chauncey?
Yeah, so Dad, he spent a lot of time really getting the specs right on this engine, so we're going to add a little personal touch to it. Instead of him like signing his name to it, we're actually going to scan his face today in 3D, and then I'm going to print it out in 3D in stainless steel so that it can be mounted on the belt cover on the back of the engine, so that when you open up the engine compartment, you see the engine and you basically see the engine builder's face 3D printed in metal on the back of the engine. So we're going to go ahead and do a scan. So I have Dad here lined up in front of the scanner, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. So that's all it takes right there, just a second. That's a scan, and we'll show you the 3D scan here. Okay guys, so as you can see here, we got a funny face scan of my dad.
That's a dang nice looking mug.
We'll probably do a few more to get his cigar in his mouth and all that, and really get a good iconic photo. But the sensors in the camera has really picked up a lot of good data. As you can see, there's a three-dimensional representation now of his face, and I can switch to a wireframe view right here, or actually this is just an ISO surface view. We've got some holes here that I can fix in post-processing. I might have to smooth his mustache out a little bit, but you get the idea. This is an artifact of the scanning. It's not actually in his skin. It won't really affect it too much. It just looks a little odd. We'll look at the wireframe mesh now. You can see everything's in triangles. So that's a pretty decent scan. We'll do a few more today, but you can see where we're going with this.
So it's been a couple months here. You can kind of see it's snowing outside now. But we've processed the data from the 3D scan I made of my dad's head here, and we're getting ready to apply it to the car. The test print came out pretty well. So this is a 3D print from shapeways.com. You can see we've got my dad's 3D head scan right there. I took his own handwriting and his signature there and converted it to kind of be imposed in there like an engraving, and it's hollow on the back just to kind of minimize the amount of extra cost from the structural material. But this is metallic plastic from Shapeways. The workflow I used was, after the initial head scan, I took everything into Geomagic Design X to fill in holes very quickly, and then also do the 3mm extrusion on the back to give it thickness for his head scan. And then in Maya, I modeled out this special plate and the right holes and size, and then also did a boolean here to get his signature engraved into the piece. Now, when I initially submitted this to Shapeways, they were complaining about the brim of his hat was too thin, and the cigar in his mouth was way too thin. It was going to be too brittle when we printed it out. So I got into Mudbox, puffed those up a little bit using the sculpting tools in Mudbox, and then sent it in, and they printed it out just fine. This is, like I said, metallic plastic, and it's going to be going to probably a bronze metal here next. Okay, so in the meantime, as I was working on this print, Dad was working on the actual mounting plate, which is kind of a fan belt cover.
Yes. What this is, it's a decoration piece for a custom Volkswagen. You can see that I put an inline groove around it, and this will fit on the back of the engine. I will inlay this with blue, the color of my car, and this is what the finished product is going to look like. And the two holes that are in the 3D printed object are actually tied into where the mounting holes will be at. And then this will help trim out the Volkswagen engine for that wow factor when someone looks at the hood, looks underneath the hood.
So this car here, obviously it's wintertime now. It's kind of in dormant. It's been put away for the winter. But here's a clip of it in the summertime. It looks real nice outside and shines up pretty well. To add this custom touch to it is just, you know, icing on the cake. And by using 3D printing or 3D scanning with you know, this style of 3D printing, you know, you can take some progressive workflows like I was explaining in Geomagic and Mudbox, and you can take a portrait and turn it into something that actually is an object that you can have for nostalgia. And you know, with traditional photography, you know, you take a photo and you could print it out as something you hang up on the wall. With something like this, you can have functional objects, decorative objects that just mean a whole heck of a lot that are in 3D shapes. And you know, for the time being, it's still a pretty impressive thing to do. You know, as time goes on, this might be a really common thing to do. But I hope you're seeing here the connection between 3D scanning and photography kind of being married together as a new form of photography. So thanks, Dad, for
Well, Chauncey,
collaborating.
I think this is pretty cool. I didn't really quite get what you wanted me to do when you scanned my face. But the only problem that I have with this is you've got me with a Corona cigar, not the Grenadier. So, thank you.
No problem.